Hi, I'm Chioma, Head of Editorial Content at British Vogue.
And I'm Daniel Roseberry, Creative Director of Schiaparelli.
And we're here at the V&A for a truly fantastic exhibition.
It's called Schiaparelli, Fashion Becomes Art.
And these are our objects of affection.
So here we are, we're sitting in front of Elsa Schiaparelli's first garment, basically. She made this trompe-l'oeil bow-knot sweater in 1927, and everything kind of came from this. It speaks so much to her modern perspective on the woman's wardrobe. The legend is that she wore this one to a lunch at the Ritz.
Okay.
Caused a sensation.
Wow. For me, I'd always associated her with trompe-l'oeil, but I actually didn't know that it was something quite as simplistic.
Totally.
But I think that's probably the impact and why it caused such a stir.
Yeah, the simplest idea, but the first, like the origin. So in here, we have some of the tailoring. We have the newspaper print, which later became the John Galliano Dior
So that's
version.
the origin of the...
This is the original. There's so many things that she did the first of. She was the first person to invent the concept of visual merchandising. She was
I did not know that.
the first person to do a unisex fragrance.
Wow.
First person to use an exposed zipper. First person to do themed collections. First person to use music in runway shows.
Wow. This room is fantastic. I feel like this look literally commands your attention.
We call it the Gold Collection. It was the first return to the runway after lockdown. And it's a direct replica of the Apollo embroidery that she did. It was the first time something from the archives really pulled us in. So it was the real fusion of past and present. But the motif is from a fountain at Versailles that was done by Lesage.
So who wore the original cape?
A very loyal client of hers named Lady Mendel. I think it was a beaten photograph portrait of her. And there was a mirror below her. Even though it's black and white, you still have this like really juicy embroidery leaping out at you. There's something about the immediacy of black velvet, black satin, boom, just the embroidery that feels so Schiap and so predictive of the digital instant gratification age that we live in. So I love that it's tying back to her, but feels so modern still.
Wow, I'm obsessed with this dress and I've never seen it in person up close.
It's one of my favorite pieces from Schiaparelli and the Artist, which was the other term for the collection, Purgatorio. We took anatomical paintings that I was doing for this season, and we enlarged the painting to be life-size.
Wow.
And then we turned every brushstroke into a paillette. Basically, the brushstrokes are done as a puzzle, painted onto plexi, and then embroidered onto a knit crochet base.
I think we talk a lot about couture and what couture means and what modern couture looks and feels like. And for me, this is the absolute epitome of modern couture. It's one of one. You couldn't replicate this if you wanted to. Like this is literally your hand.
Yes. I feel like couture is sort of the moment for a house to say something about what it stands for in the creative space. And so Schiaparelli, the legacy is art and fashion. And so that's why in every look, we're trying to reduce the meaning so that it is as closely linked with art as possible. And that is what makes it so Schiap. Okay, so this is the Matador jacket from Fall/Winter 2021.
For me, it feels like just incredibly playful in the most high fashion way.
Yes, yeah. The Schiap jacket is the thing. And it's typically very silhouetted, often sharp-shouldered, and heavily embroidered.
How did it come together from a technical perspective? Because it looks so intricate.
Yeah, it all happens in the fitting. So like, I draw everything before just to get the shapes down. But the real heartbeat of the collection always happens in 3D. When you look around the room, you see a lot of play happening with the jackets. It gives permission for us to play as well. So this was the first time really in my time here that the Schiap jacket announced itself. I remember this whole conversation with the team. It was like, it's Super Bowl halftime show. and there's a Schiaparelli pop star coming up from the inside of from the floor. What is she wearing? And it was like how embroidered, how turbo with mirrors and things, and then the lights and everything. There's something so pop about Schiap.
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted here. This fusion of pop and archival embroideries and everything just delivered in one garment. I think because the house was closed for so long, for almost a century, that when we're creating something like this in the fittings, I'm always saying, is this museum bound?
Right.
You know, there's two mantras. It's
well,
like,
you were very accurate with this one.
Yeah, actually, yes, accidentally. But that's the question. Can it be on the cover of a magazine? And can it go into the museum?
Yeah. So here we are in a really fabulous room full of Schiaparelli hats and accessories. I think, honestly, this might be the most famous of Elsa's hats, am I right?
Yes. The other hats that women were wearing at the time, they were always just about making yourself look more beautiful. And this is not about making yourself look more beautiful. It's a provocation.
I love that about her. It's just so much part of who she was as a designer, who she was as a woman.
Yeah, it's interesting. She has a very unique brand of provocation. It was never humor to the point of farce. And this surrealist idea of displacement, about taking an everyday object and putting it in a new context, making it feel like you're seeing it for the first time.
Yeah, and I think also it's something that I think you've used to define your time at the house, that amazing dress that you designed for Ariana Grande.
Yes. You know, when Ari was performing and then she turns around, the ruby red slippers on the back of her dress, and people screamed. What I'm always looking for, inspired by this, is what's gonna make it an unforgettable moment, not just a dress. We got the call from Ariana about 2 weeks before the Academy Awards.
It's a pretty quick turnover.
It was very quick, and the producers wanted to do something that was sort of like a love letter to Los Angeles and to movie making. And she sang Somewhere Over the Rainbow. So that was the inspiration for this.
What's the difference between working on a collection versus something like this as a special commission?
The couture is so personal in a way. It's like an intimate dialogue with self. And when we're making something for a performer or a celebrity or whoever, it's really an act of service for them. The goal being that they are allowed to connect with self before this hugely performative part of her career. Our job is to help her tell a story and make her feel amazing while she does it.
Okay, so this is the famous lobster dress.
This is her in all of her glory, collaboration with Dali. The Duchess of Windsor had just gotten married.
Didn't Schiaparelli make a wardrobe for her post?
Yes, yes. And so this was part of that ensemble. And as a homage to who wore the pants in the relationship,
right,
the lobster is placed strategically between her legs.
Oh, got it.
And then also Dali wanted there to be real mayonnaise on the dress.
Ah, okay.
And there's Elsa was, I think she was like, it's a bridge too far. We don't want to do that. So luckily that didn't happen. So we still have the dress, but
I can't imagine those mayonnaise stains would have aged well.
No.
So this evening coat is one that Schiaparelli designed in collaboration with Jean Cocteau. As you can see, the motif is very much indicative of his art.
Yeah.
Do you see a line from that original sweater that we saw, that trompe-l'oeil, that sort of playful vibe?
Definitely.
In this?
What makes it so striking is that the silhouette is so simple, so pure. It's like a canvas, basically. So your eye just goes to the drawings of Cocteau. And then the taffeta flowers are all pleated into rosette patterns and then hand-painted.
I think the rosettes are probably my favorite part about it, and those sparkly red lips, which I know is a motif that you play a lot with too.
The eyes, the lips, it's all permission granted from pieces like this.
So this piece is pretty much hot off the couture runway, isn't it?
It's like 2 months old, I think.
Oh.
Yeah. The whole collection started with this quote from a poet called David Whyte. He said, anger is the deepest form of care. Elsa Schiaparelli was, I don't want to say an angry person, but I know that the fantasy of her work was directly contrasted by a difficult reality in life.
Yeah.
And I love that there's this fashion becoming this foil. I was really pissed one day. I think something had happened in the studio, and I grabbed my art supplies and just started drawing these tails, which were, you know, really short at the beginning. And then in the fittings, they just became these sort of like arabesques of venomous, beautiful anger. It became, I think, some of the most memorable looks from the last collection.
Nice. I love this idea of like beauty and danger and beauty as armor and beauty as protection.
Yes. You find that example over and over again in fashion.
I know. I mean, I think the most creative people are often the most tortured. So
yes.
They have to find an outlet for that.
Yeah. Well, we're not repeating that life cycle.
No. I was so hoping that this look would make it into the exhibit, and it did. Yeah. I remember seeing it come down the runway, and it was just such an electric moment.
This is from this Spring 24 couture collection, which was called Schiaparellian, and it was all inspired by the character Ripley from Aliens. And it was all about the emergence of AI.
Tell me about the construction of it, because it seems to have jewelry, but also pieces of a motherboard, and obviously play on the motherboard, which is really cool.
Exactly. It's all motherboard with lots of cables and cords, and there's crushed CDs and DVDs that have been turned into mirrors and paillettes, and then it's dusted in Swarovski crystals. So again, even in the embroidery, there's like a past and present, past and future. And it was molded by one of the artisans in the atelier. And it's like a couture stuffed animal, basically.
Oh, it's incredible.
Yeah. But my favorite thing about this is what you just said, walking in. I remember when this came down the runway. That's the fashion that I know we both grew up looking at, being inspired by, remembering, and that's always the goal. How can we present something to you that will become part of the way you think about fashion in this era?
So these were our objects of affection. Thank you so much for watching.